Alright, and welcome back to part 28 of the IRC Bot from scratch in C. Sorry, I forgot the title of my own thing. Okay, so I kind of left off on a crappy note last part where I was trying to look for a way to reasonably create some sort of way to handle sanitation for things going into Elasticsearch. So I did that, and things may have gotten a little bit crazy. But before I get to that, if there's any like weird sound being picked up right now, it's kind of raining outside, and this mic is kind of like super sensitive. I got a new desk, so I'm far more comfortable now. So everything should be good to go for tonight. So just to give you guys an idea of what actually happened over the past weekend, I did a lot of deletions and a lot of insertions. So tonight's going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing my rigmarole of running into problems and spending way too long trying to figure them out, I'm just going to kind of go through and take a look at what was done recently. So let's start off with that string helper. So I went ahead and created a new header file called strhelpers. I probably should have done this a long time ago and actually create more functions for this, so I can have some sort of base library that I can just include in any of my C files to actually do anything useful. So a little bit about this function. I went ahead and decided that anything that had control characters, I'm going to go ahead and try to remove from the input, or from any input, or I should say from whatever the bot picks up, and also try to escape quotes and backslashes. Now, I'm not as familiar with JSON to know what else I might need to escape, but this is all here for me to trivially take a look at and modify as needed. So the way I went about this was this function is going to return the length of whatever string comes back, and then in order to write to it, we're going to put in our input and also pass in an output pointer. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do a buff pass, which is essentially going to figure out how big our string needs to be in terms of size. If it's 0, then I'm just going to go ahead and return 0 and assign the out variable to null. And then otherwise, I'm going to allocate a string of that size with all null terminated characters. And then if that's null, so the allocation didn't happen, I'm going to go ahead and return 0. And at this point, out will still equal null. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and, character by character, go ahead and skip all the control characters. And in addition to that, whenever it comes across as a quote or a slash, it's going to add an appropriate slash to attempt to escape it. And then this part here is just going to copy remaining characters over and return the string length. So I created a bunch of tests for that to handle the various situations, checking both that the output and the length is what I'm expecting. This right here, I just generated all the characters that I wanted to, including the delete character, and turn that into a string, and all these tests pass. I can just show you guys real quick by clicking run here. All tests pass. But the interesting thing about creating this list is I use Haskell to do it. I got really lazy, and I used the Haskell interpreter to generate a list of all these characters that I just copied and pasted in here, and it all worked out. Next, I wrote a test for our example that we ran into last time, where the version had control characters into it. The first one just 0x01. turn that into a string, verify that just version is returned, and I did some basic checking for a backslash to appear before quotes. And then also one for a number of slashes. Now this got a little out of hand just because, you know, we have to escape for every escape that we do. So this gets kind of ridiculous, but all tests are running, all tests are passing. So then what I proceeded to do was actually perform arguably way too much cleanup in the Elasticsearch file. So before we get to that, I'll just start with the URL builder I had. I realized that I had a little bit of I wouldn't say like a total buffer overflow, but I may have picked up some garbage along the way to where I was getting like really nasty error messages from curl because it tried to append information allocated in the headers. So sometimes my URLs will contain the content type in them, and that makes absolutely zero sense. So what I did instead is I actually replaced a lot of my mallocs with collocs to zero everything out. And then also I went ahead and just created the max URL buffer from here. Originally I had an array that was just stack allocated. And then what I tried to do is I tried to calculate the links of everything and then try to copy everything over. Yeah, that didn't quite work out because I copied more characters than I should have. So I decided I was dumb, so I just went ahead and just stuck with this buffer here, just do a pre-allocation of all that memory, and then just kind of write to it, greatly reducing the complexity of this function in total, and it's always producing a proper URL for me to use. So that's one cleanup I did. The next was I actually cleaned up this function like before most of the others, but I'll get back to that one in a moment. I noticed that I was doing some like really dumb things in here, and it actually might be helpful if I go ahead and pull up GitHub real quick and just show the previous code. Now, normally I would just show this in my terminal session here, but sometimes the output can get kind of weird to read. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the previous file. I don't know if anyone can see that too well, but I'll go ahead and increase the font size a little bit. All right. So, oh yeah, I went ahead and removed this comment too. Let's see here. All right, so oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. It is behind this window. You know what? Why don't I just do this to try to bring them all into view? And I'll just open up OBS to make sure that everything's on screen. And we'll close out these. Cool. All right. So still not enough. Go ahead and minimize that. And bring it over. Oh my gosh. I got this new mouse pad, so I'm not used to it just yet. Okay, so in this function, let's see here. We're looking for the allocator. So in the allocate of the Elasticsearch, oh, did I fix things? You know, this is like a really terrible idea. I am so sorry. We're going to do this the real way. Just because it's a lot easier to see what actually changed. Okay. attempt to increase the size there. All right, hopefully this is a little bit easier to read. Okay, so in the allocation, I changed the mallocs to colics, just so I can get the benefits of clearing out the memory. Well, not clearing it out, but assigning it all zeros on time of allocation, as opposed to doing it after the fact. Same thing with the base URL. So this memset, I went ahead and realized that I wasn't doing the sorry for my cat. I realized I wasn't properly getting the correct size of which I needed to memset everything. So I did size of char times curl error size. So that should properly clear everything out of the errors in debug mode. I removed this null check here in the Elasticsearch disconnect. Oh, by the way, if I'm wrong about that, just let me know on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I'm right about doing it this way, but I could always pull up the documentation too to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure this is all right. Anyway, so in the Elasticsearch disconnect function here, I realized I had like this null check on curl, and I thought, well, that's kind of dumb. So I went ahead and removed that because even if it is null, that's fine. Freeing everything up should be okay. It's amazing what you learn in a couple of weeks of working with C almost nonstop to do string stuff. You tend to look at things a little bit more critically. Okay, so this is the crux of the changes here in the Elasticsearch insert function. I went ahead and created these characters for, or these character pointers, and these are going to be these are going to be the sanitized strings. So I went ahead and moved some things around too, it looks like. To kind of keep things all lumped together, I moved the URL to the top. I moved the header piece to the top too. On top of that, this is how I went about doing my buffer length. Now it is possible that the size of the string could return 0 in this case, but it'll still be null anyway. This variable here would be null, and that's fine. So I went ahead and sanitized and also built the buffer length at the same time. I decided I was going to properly check for the payload to not be null. I created this succeeded flag. By default, I believe I have it set to true, right? And then I created a goto for proper cleanup. Kind of made this a little bit easier to read. The copying of the character, or the formatting of the payload that I'm going to send over to Elasticsearch. And then this cleanup just kind of goes through the gamut of things and cleans things up. And then returns succeeded true or false if it didn't work. And then, like I said, for the string building, I removed all this nonsense to just stick with this. So remove that memset, remove the buffer. Again, this is probably incorrect. In fact, this might have been part of the reason why I was getting weird issues, but I've learned to recently that maybe memset's not necessarily the best idea to use for many things. So again, I just kind of replaced everything with colic up to this point, and then removed all the complexity that no longer needs to be had just because of doing that colic in the first place. It appears in my handle command. I went ahead and updated the memset there too, or added a memset there to clear out, to zero out all the parameters. Which I'm realizing now I need to change that from size of char to the struct of the parameter. Oops. Kind of did this in a hurry. Yeah, that'll be the first thing we fix tonight. And then I added back, I uncommented that function so I can do testing with the actual IRC bot. And I don't know why this is all saying that it was deleted. That's interesting. Oh, this must have been old code from a previous commit that I did that was not correct anyway, so we'll just ignore that. It was actually kind of funny how that all worked out, but mainly I just removed this bufflen greater than 0 because that didn't make sense, and then I removed this minus was actually creating some sort of discrepancy with my testing as far as how much space to allocate. Which I realize now that if I'm skipping things, I probably shouldn't have done the minus anyway. I'm just like really bad at strings, I've learned recently, and then all of the tests were added in. So that's it for that. Let's see if I can put that back. So I've been a little bit of a busybody trying to refactor and correct some of my mistakes. And let's go ahead and try to find that memset I need to fix for the parameters. Oh, look. It is right there. So I'm just going to do struct IRC parameter. I think it's spelled correctly. What's this about? An incomplete type. Well, it would definitely help if I knew what that was called, or remember what that was called. I don't know, for some reason I'm not really getting much autocomplete when it comes to structs like that. Kinda sucks. Let's just go ahead and copy and paste that. There we go. Cool. And that should solve that problem. Anyway, so just to get an idea of kind of where we're at tonight, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the IRC channel, and we'll go ahead and take a look to see what's going on with this. And I really need to get better about not hiding things below the window there. Oh, I need to change this real quick to the actual that. Go ahead and run it. Uh-oh. Oh shoot, was I originally right about the memset? Yeah, that's not right. All right, you know what? I'm gonna Google this. Screw it. We'll get to the bottom of this. All right. command page. I know this isn't a Linux computer, but it should be all right. Size T. All right, so the first end. Okay. Oh, it doesn't tell me what the actual parameters are. We always go to here. This is a good site. Yeah, number of bytes. So yeah, I did that correctly, but I am curious as to how unfortunately the moment I run this tonight we automatically get an issue with the memory allocation. Yeah, I wonder why. Error for object, incorrect checksum. Yeah. I may have overwritten something incorrectly. So just me commenting that out should be fine for the most part. It's just that the parameters has potential garbage in it. Interesting. Okay, well maybe this is probably another thing I'm going to have to look at in my spare time. Let's see. IRC command. Oh, that's probably the reason why. Right. Okay. So, okay, I see what I did. Okay, so this is actually like probably an important bug to have a look at here. So really, what I have is an array of pointers, not an array of IRC command parameters. So it makes sense that I got that memory modified malloc whatever error. Yeah, it makes total sense because I have pointers that I'm trying to zero out, not the full type of this, which is much larger than the size of a pointer. So, yep, that's that. So cool. Anyway, time for the crux of the evening. Here we have everything going a-okay. The URL is fixed, and we are handling all sorts of good stuff. So, for instance, if I type in, oh, my cursor's not showing, but I can type in there. So if I do that, we're still getting that bad request, but it's only because we need to format our date. But as you notice, pulling in these characters here are no longer breaking anything going on here because we have slashes and we're escaping things, and JSON's no longer going to complain at us for breaking things, unless, of course, I don't have all the characters escaped that I need to have escaped. But this is pretty good for now. So what would happen here is if everything was working okay, it would go directly to my Elasticsearch instance, but we need to fix our date. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Paul real quick to have a look at my API. Which screen does it come on? All right. So when I created my index and my mappings, I must have specified a particular date time. Which has all these settings that I have no clue what they do. So we're gonna have to pull up Elasticsearch real quick. Sorry. Elasticsearch date mappings. 6.4, I think. Oh no, data type. Here we go. So the date I have pulling back from here is slightly different in that it is Friday, October 26th, in the morning. Is that tomorrow? Is the 26th tomorrow? Indeed it is. So it's already tomorrow. I think this is UTC time, so 2018, and that is not the format that we have specified for Elasticsearch to look into. So what I'm going to try to do is try to figure out how to format that date to what we need it to be. Now, I could do this in C-land, but I would want to try to find a library to do that for me. I highly doubt the current functionality provided in C will give me what I want. So I'm going to try to look for the format here and grab all the things. Are these all the options we have? I wish it would give me like date math expressions. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, we have to do a Control F on this. Let's do day. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do what I need to do. Okay, well, let's have a look to see if we can format it on the C side of things. Definitely not in this file. Let's see, it would be... Oh, class name? No, that's not what I want. Let's see. Not Control P, Control H. Nope, definitely not that. Oh gosh. go to File. Let's see, Shift Command O. All right. There we go. Let's have a look at that date. ASC time, GM time. Hopefully you guys love with my streams. You inevitably end up on Google. People who dare watch this on YouTube would probably be screaming at me. All right, so it's likely that this is what's causing me the grief. What? No, I don't want a bookmark. I probably should have just clicked remove. Let's see, where's it down here? So let's see what GMT. Okay, so GMT time returns that structure, which then I could use this to create our string, which would be well enough, I suppose. Why don't we go ahead and do that? All right, I'm just going to copy and paste this for reference. Okay. Well, we can actually get rid of this nonsense since we don't need that anymore. We do need to allocate a string. But before we do that, why don't we go ahead and try to figure out our format real quick. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave what I have there just for sake of keeping things together. So I'm going to go ahead and try to establish a format that we want. So we want the, let's see. Oh, sorry, I have that up right here. So since it's an int, we'll do D. And then we'll do the month, D again. And then the day. Hours, %D, %D. And then for minutes, %D. So what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we should have 11 characters. Let's see what size. Oh, that's the count, sorry. 11, right? And then we'll do, but before we get there, let's have a look at it to make sure that it's okay. So TM struct TM. Oh, it does not like that. Does it not? Does it return a pointer? does return a pointer. Okay. Let's see, TM or T. Let's see, we'll do year, month, day. Day of the week, day in the year, so TY day. That's a pretty cool way to say that. TY day. And then we have our space, then we do hours, minutes, and then seconds. Let's make sure real quick that that matches up with what the spec is calling for. Strict date. Wow, that was kind of cool. Okay, so I mean, I guess I could include the T in there. That'll add 3 characters. Gotta say, Elasticsearch really loves its T in the middle. I'm cool with that, for what it's worth. Yeah, we'll just use that. We'll do date, hour, second, or strict. I guess strict? I don't know. Get rid of that epoch mills in there. Go ahead and do that. Delete our index since we have nothing in here really. Go ahead and delete that and then reestablish it. Cool. And then what we need to do is we need to add those T characters, or just the T. I don't know if I need to add quotes around that. I don't think it really specifies. T is pretty used widely. I guess I need to. If I'm inserting it in there, so we'll just add 2 more characters to that. So well, now I'm gonna go ahead and run this and see what we get. Actually, I might actually do this instead of doing it here. I might actually do this on the parameter itself, just because I mean I kind of like this format better anyways than Friday, October 26th at blah 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 blah. It's kind of weird anyway. I have also miscounted, I realized. This is actually going to be 4. Oh, geez. Let's see here. So why is it saying 118? Interesting. Okay. At this point, it's time to bring it over to the testing grounds. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just to keep things simple, I'll keep it in this test here. We'll call this time test. Test time. Okay, we'll start off with that. Do I need to do anything special with my testing? No. Oh, it's because I have it all capitalized? Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and poke at my parser here for a quick minute. See where we're getting that datetime at. So it's just grabbing it from time null. Cool. Doesn't appear I'm doing anything else with it at that point. Yeah, it must have been my testing where I actually did something with that. So we'll just get the time. Let's see what that returns. Time t. Get the current time. Include it. Is it time h? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have our time t. Now we're gonna go to the message parser. No, here, and we'll get the GMT time. And I just realized I deleted everything from my clipboard. So by doing that, so that's fine. I'll just do some undos right quick in here. Cool. And that would be a struct tm pointer. We'll call it pt. Okay. I'll change this to pt. All right, there's a faster way for me to do this other than having to hear me do clickety clacks all the time. That's not cool. Okay. Sweet. And what I just do? Misclicked. And apparently closed out of it. Great. Okay, so we have our PTs. We have our time. So I'm going to go ahead and run this to see what we actually get from that. Which is still not quite what I'm looking for. What is up with that? the number of years since 1900. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I don't know. It's an integer. Like, I mean, you could store a pretty big year in there. I guess it makes some sense because, you kind of, it's nice to know how many years it's been, I guess, since 1900. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a better function. See, time. I don't even know what spec I'm looking for. See, timestamp. Yeah, that's not exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, timestamp is the number. I need the format. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for, more or less. Ooh, there's a function, strf time. Ooh, that's nice. Local time. Let's look at what local time does real quick. Local time. Okay. Yeah, just out of curiosity. I want to know what that does. Meh. A little bit better. I'm not familiar with military time. But I would say it is, yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, that's actually better. So local time is better. But I think I would still prefer GM time. But I don't have the time zone information, so yeah, maybe I want my local time. But I guess that's dependent upon the server. Yeah. Use make time. Okay. I actually like this a lot. This is actually really nice. We'll have to add more to get our T in there. Just 2 more characters. Yeah, okay. Well, I dig. Cool. Let's try that out. Just gonna copy it. Well, I copied and pasted the wrong thing. Really what I want is this. And then the buffer. 26. Okay. And then TM info is actually PT. We'll run it. Oh, I didn't output it. Oh, I did. There it is. Yeah, this is not bad. That's what I like to see. So go ahead and add those 2 extra characters to be complete. Bring our total to 28. And yeah, that's what we want. Sweet. Okay, so since we have all the things, we're going to go ahead and copy that. Go ahead and remove our little test case here, which I actually really like using. I don't know if I've said this before, but Criterion's an awesome test library. It's a little tricky to debug with because it opens up different processes, so my IDE can't attach to it easily. But I mean, the guy who made this, I mean, it's just top notch. I really like it. Okay, so time is string. Where am I defining that at? Oh, there it is. All right, we'll go ahead and make that 28. And then we're going to go ahead and do what we need to do to pull out the time there, which would be this guy here. We're going to leave the strf time. We'll go ahead and put in our time as string. Make that 28. And then not going to mess with the colic there in that case. All right, cool. And let's see here. All right, and go ahead and group it to be with its friends. Cool. We already know that it's 28, so we don't need to do another one of those guys. Okay. Oh. Cool. All right, let's see if this actually works. Let's cross our fingers. Hopefully we get something in Elasticsearch tonight. Wouldn't that be nice? It's kind of cool to see all this finally come together. Ah! No! Those a-holes, they don't like the quotes around it. Okay. I'm game. I'll just put it back. Where's my IRC bot at? Should probably turn that into like some magic. Well, right now it's a magic number, so should probably fix that. Alright, so we set it back. Go ahead and put that T in there. Let's run this bad boy again. Nice. Will you look at that? We have the word version put into Elasticsearch. Oh, this is great. Okay, hold on. We're gonna do this. You know what I should probably do? I should probably start, like, I just thought of this just now. I should probably start putting, like, notes into the YouTube uploads to kind of, like, describe what's going on in each part. You know, create some sort of, like, abstract for it. But I don't know why I'm realizing this just now. I'm still, like, even though I've been doing this for a while now, I wouldn't consider myself a content creator by any means. So I need to learn how to edit too, apparently. But wow, this is kind of cool. Watch this. Oh, what? We put some slashes in there. This is kind of fun. I don't even need an IRC proxy anymore. I'm just gonna, like, well, I mean, I guess I wouldn't still need it if I wanted to chat back with people, but I could just totally, like, put this up on my server and just park it and let it go. All right, so I think that's good for the messages. Let's go ahead and actually see them. We have at least 5 items out of 10. And if we look at the source, we have our messages. Yeah. It's kind of cool. And I can query by username. I'm not exactly super familiar with just, you know, writing Elasticsearch queries, you know, off the top of my head, but I have username, possibly with an IP address. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, with that said, I think I'm just going to close now. Tomorrow, I think what I'm actually going to end up doing is probably cleanup time. Mainly, I don't want these messages to appear. I think we're past the point at this moment to, like, I don't know. I would want this stuff to be turned on in debug mode, not necessarily runtime mode. Also, I want to not have it return anything back to me because I'm not going to be doing anything with it. And let's see, what else could we do? Probably address some to-do items and just do general cleanup. And fix any bugs along the way. Like, I know this whole series I've kind of been, you know, gung-ho. You know, do whatever just to make it work. But I think we're at a good point to try to do some refactoring. But other than that, I don't really I mean, I thought at one point I would try to, you know, put all the curl stuff up onto its own thread. I don't know if I'm going to go with that route. I'm kind of ready to kind of bring this series to a close. That might be a future item I might do, you know. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no real performance impact from what I can tell with it just being like this. Maybe do some checking to make sure the Elasticsearch is up and running. Well, no checking to make sure. That's kind of what I mean to say is if Elasticsearch isn't running or anything like that, maybe try to do some connection reattempts before closing down the application. Maybe actually having introduce some output logs that's not within View, actually write to a file possibly. No, I mean, it's writing to STD error right now anyway. But maybe I might want some actual logging. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just so much to do with this, especially the configuration aspect. Like, I don't want to compile this program every single time I make a change. I don't know. There's just a lot of like flexibility at this point. I mean, there's so many things I could do with this. I mean, I have it, message bus to handle events, and I can even program this to handle commands that people type in. Like, I could actually have this be a real bot, and if they type in slash, no, it won't let me type it in here, or maybe I'm not selected into it. Like, if I type in slash, cool beans, do something, I could, try to make it do something. Right now I'm not picking up on that. Unless these slash commands are for the server itself. I don't remember, but maybe, bot hello world, and then maybe it could respond back with something. I don't know. There's so many possibilities with this toy project. Most of which I am not going to stream. I think it's about time I move on. So I think tomorrow I'll just stick to the to-dos, do some cleanup, and I don't know. Maybe it'll be the last part. It's kind of sad, really, but I don't know. I feel pretty good about this project, and it kind of works well. I might do a follow-up video, too, at the end of this whole series that will actually, where I can actually post my findings, because, the original intent behind this was to park this into a busy IRC channel and do some analytical work to try to figure out, how many words are said, things like that. Maybe I can come up with some Elasticsearch queries to kind of look into that. And that would probably likely be the last video, would be the follow-up regarding this project for sure. I still don't know what I'm going to do next, so that is yet to come, but I have some ideas I'm toying around with, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, well, closing remarks. With that said, this is going to be video 28 on YouTube. And tonight's commit will be for 10/25/2018. YouTube video 28. With that said, the links can be found below this video for the GitHub, and this is listed underneath Elastic IRC Bot on GitHub. But the video is the playlist video for YouTube. I uploaded the previous 3 videos yesterday. Sorry I didn't get to that until too late, but this weekend I should have these next 2 videos, this one and tomorrow's video up over the weekend. So, okay, well, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time.